Greetings and welcome to Mount Olympus. I am Hercules Invictus. The age of heroes has dawned, and we continue in our exploration of the path of public service. Today, I am greatly honored to have Tenafly Councilperson Adam Michaels. Greetings and welcome. How are you, sir?
How you doing, Hercules? Thanks so much for the opportunity to connect.
Now, you have made yourself very known in the town. You're somewhat of a maverick and you're very creative. So I'm really looking forward to getting an idea of the full extent of your experiences as a council person. What was your life like before you entered public service?
I don't know. I feel like it's been like forever. I don't remember before. So my 1 minute, if helpful, is so New Jersey born and bred. So I grew up in Fair Lawn, New Jersey, so right down Route 4. My mother was a school teacher for most of my life. So grew up in Fair Lawn, went to the public schools there, and then ended up going to University of Pennsylvania for school, studied biomedical engineering. I promise you it was, I am not using it today, but I've always, and then I had my professional life, which I'm happy to share. I think I've always been in service to the community. So all the cliche things that you would think of. So, I mean, I think you go back, my wife likes to make fun. I was our 8th grade president in Memorial Junior High School
Awesome.
in Fair Lawn. I don't know if it was awesome, but, you know, I wanted special. I remember my speech talking about wanting to get more stuff into the bookstore, and, you know, it was creative. But so, you know, always doing stuff like that, whether it be a lot of community service in high school. I actually went to high school in New York. Went to when I was at Penn, I was president of my fraternity. When I went to business school. At school, there was I went in New York for business school at Columbia. There was actually a university senate. So literally, this was actually the coolest. I mean, not as cool as the council, but so literally, the university is run by the university senate. The president of the senate is President Bollinger, who is the president of the university, and it had, you know, tricameral branch of sorts. You know, it literally had faculty, administrators, and students. Actually, they had a small other research assistants also. And I represented the business school my first year. Business school is 2 years on the Senate. And then I was actually elected to chair the student caucus. So I represented all 25,000 students on campus. And it was the first time that, like, I got stuff done. Like, you were able to, I remember giving a big floor speech around why students should be on the like disciplinary committee. At the time, it was only for professors. And obviously, as a student, you want your peers as well on whatever happens. And I remember giving this big floor speech on why, just because, and remember, I was older than some professors at the time when I was at business school. So why, just because I'm paying versus getting paid, we shouldn't be represented on a jury of our peers, for lack of a better word. So I remember that. So I feel like my whole life, you know, it's really selfish, right? Because this is where we live. What better way to give back than to your own community where you live, where the most important people in my life, my 2 children, my wife, live and work every day. Both my kids go to the middle school and the high school. So yeah, I mean, as far back as I remember, I think I've always been giving back because it's for us, it's for our community. I got to see it every day, and that's what made it really special. So I don't know if that's helpful or not.
Oh, that is very helpful. So public service is something that's been in you from the beginning. It wasn't like a lark. It was part of who and how you are.
Yeah, and I think, you know, I owe it all to my parents, right? I mentioned to you, my mother was a teacher before I was born. I think when my sister's younger than I am by 4 years. I think once my sister came, I think she stayed home for a little bit, then went back to like substitute and then special education, which had more flexibility, and then went back to full-time teaching. So between that, I remember my father always being involved in the community in different aspects. So I think, I'll tell you another thing that I really do hope for is a little bit of me. We'll see if this happens or not, but a little bit of me. The reason why I do it is I hope my kids see what I do, and consciously or subconsciously, their whole life they see mom and dad gave back. My mom, my wife, was HSA. She was a treasurer for many years at mom's school. Go mom. I hope they see it, and consciously or subconsciously, when they're older, they give back, because mom and dad did it. I guess that's just normal. Everybody should be doing it, type thing.
I agree. Everybody should be doing it to some degree or another, as much as they're able to do it. And certainly you and your family are a great example of people doing that. So thank you. And thanks to your family.
No, thank you for the opportunity.
Now, I remember when you first started coming to committee meetings. And I remember when you first declared your interest in wanting to run for the council, and I certainly voted for you because
thank you.
You deserve the chance. You got a lot of enthusiasm and so forth. Your journey to the council was relatively short.
So I started quite a while back. So I don't know if we knew each other back then, but I started on the planning board. So Mayor Rustin, I don't know, 3-4 years, even before maybe you and I met, going to the committee meetings. I remember having breakfast at the Tenafly diner. I got a call from Mayor Rustin, and we met, and he explained to me, I don't remember how he knew I was interested. Again, I've always been interested in helping. And he went through all the different committees, and is this interesting, Adam? Is this interesting, Adam? We have an opening here. We don't have an opening here, but maybe in the future. And I think the planning board was the one that was most interesting, because I'm all about getting stuff done. So I promise you, I'm pretty busy during the day, like many of us. I don't have time to warm a seat. So, I think one of the first questions I asked the mayor at the time was, which ones move forward? I'm not about just listening and talking and then talking some more. I love getting stuff done. And I think of it, and if you excuse the baseball analogy, I like doing, I like having singles and doubles and triples and home runs. So again, me well. There's tons of stuff that I talk about that is home runs, meaning it's going to take years to do. I don't know anything more audacious than what we're trying to do with our downtown and to revitalize our downtown. I appreciate that will not get done in a day, and appropriate for this call, like Rome wasn't built in a day type thing. That's fine, and we should have home runs and we should have triples. Equally, I want the singles. So I want to be able, if we could just put some more signs up, or plant more trees, or put up a new, benches, or to put up new lights. We just put up new lights downtown in the light poles. Take the wins, take the singles. So I think for me, with the planning board, there was like stuff got done. I got to see us taking decisions and moving things forward. So yeah, so I think I was on the planning board for 3-4 years, and then I don't remember who brought me into the committee meetings, and then obviously meeting Shama and team, and then ultimately I helped for a couple elections. I think I helped for 2. I remember helping Lauren before, and before that. So helped for a couple of elections, and then I don't know, a couple of folks said, "Hey, Adam, why don't you do it?" And it was good. I really appreciate the experience. I love meeting people. Again, I will tell you, I know my biggest concern in life is that, service to your community. Like, I'm supposed to be helping others, and I feel like I'm getting more help than they are. Like, I love meeting people. When I went door to door, literally I went door to door every weekend and meeting people. I love the coffees I get to have with residents. I love, you know me, every week I go up and down the streets of our downtown, going into every store and checking out and seeing how everyone's doing. Like, I'm supposed to be giving back, and I'm loving it more than, like, I'm really enjoying it because I want to help. Silly things, getting a trash can for this business, or cleaning up the alleyway on that business, or getting the outdoor, I know it was somewhat controversial, but getting the outdoor dining during COVID. How cool is it? And again, remember, singles, doubles, triples. We got to see it. I
Right.
got the whole community involved. We raised, I think, over $70,000 we
Wow.
raised from residents to feed our at-risk youth and homebound seniors during COVID. Literally, and I got tons of help from folks. Every night we fed the kids. Every night I was at the middle school. We got tons of help from the Board of Ed administrator at the time to get us a list. It was really interesting. I never knew to this day, and I did it for months, every day for months. I don't know who the families were. I just knew family 4 got 6, this is their license plate, and got 6 meals, and number, 5 got 3 meals. But that's the power, like, really seeing it, that makes all the difference in the world. And I think that's what got me inspired to get more and more involved, because I could see the impacts immediately.
I know exactly what you mean about how in giving you're getting. My capacity in Tenafly is nowhere near as essential or vital as yours, but
Not true at all. What do you mean?
try to do
That's
as much as I can whenever.
Mayor's wellness program that you lead for us. There's tons of stuff you do.
Well, thank you. But I know that in the process of doing this too, I feel like I'm getting a lot out of it, and I don't feel bad about that. But I know exactly what you mean. It's a very satisfying feeling because you love the people in a particular place, if they're your friends, your family, or just your
Oh
fellow
yeah.
community members, and you have an opportunity to help everybody's life be just a little bit better, and
Oh
that's
yeah.
a wonderful feeling.
Yep. Absolutely.
Now, you brought up a few things that you did during the pandemic, and you actually did a lot during the pandemic. And the pandemic really was an opportunity to see what you're capable of, because you did a lot. You even brought us a ice skating rink that
Yeah.
you could take it apart and put it back together.
Yeah.
Yeah. Would you care to take us on a journey of all the things you managed to accomplish during the pandemic?
First of all, it's we always do everything. So I learned that early on. I can't do anything myself, but a number of us did some things I'm really, really proud of. So I mentioned to you, the first thing happened immediately during the pandemic. I think so. Pandemic was March. I think we were already feeding people by April, if not sooner. People needed food. So this is something that I've been part of for a long part of my life, food insecurity. And I know, unfortunately, for some, their main meal is their lunch program that we had. And so what we wanted to do was it was a triple benefit. So the first one was a bunch of friends, everyone wanted to give back. So we collected money. Like I said, we raised over $70,000. We got money.
Mhm.
Second thing we did was the restaurants needed it, right? Because they're all shut down, if you remember. So what we did is every night, literally every night, Monday through Thursday, we took about $1,000, sometimes $1,250, and we got, let's make it easy, we took $1,000 and we got 100 meals, and we went to a different restaurant every day. So Cafe Europe and Veda and Vish and all every day. The third part of it was, so we helped, our residents felt like they were helping, our retailers felt that, our restaurants got helped. And then we took those 100 meals, and then we gave it to half of it roughly. Whereas I told you I worked with the schools to make sure the kids got and their parents, their families got.
Mhm.
And then the other half is we worked with, one of my favorites, Michelle Hausch at the Senior Center, who I know you know.
Yes.
And there we had a number of seniors. Remember, height of the pandemic, people didn't leave their house. We brought them food every night.
Well,
So that was one of the things that really proud of with COVID. Second one you mentioned was obviously the ice rink. So this was another one that the downtown committee was wonderful to help, and you couldn't be inside. You know, I also sit on the recreation board. So working with Jamie Cannon and team, realized that the kids, they're just like pent up, right? I know my two boys, like there's only so much time they could be inside. So the ice rink was amazing because it was big, it was outdoors, very COVID friendly. We raised over $50,000 from residents and businesses, local businesses, and we literally bought the town an ice rink, literally, full stop, including the walls, the barriers, everything.
Mhm.
Everything we paid for privately. And now we're going on year 3. Actually, the past couple of years have been awesome. That's another thing I think I'm really proud of. And then the third, and the one that I thought was cool also, is, again, growing up in Fair Lawn. I don't know what's happened these days. You just can't do it. But like, my parents didn't know where I was from 3 o'clock to 6 o'clock. Now, my butt was in the seat when my dad got home at 6 o'clock at night. And if you were not there, oh boy, you didn't eat. But from 3 to 6, I don't know if my parents knew where I was. And I would just take my bike and I'd go to friends' houses. And I really feel that every kid deserves a bike. It just
Mhm.
provides incredible freedom, independence. I wish my boys did it more often. So we collected, I don't know if you remember or not, over 100 bicycles. So we sent out a note to our
Yes.
groups and everything, said, hey, it's a win-win again. I'm all about double and triple and quadruple wins. So literally, hey, by the way, if you want to clean out your garage, I'll pick up your bikes. Now, Hercules, I will tell you, first of all, I'm appreciative of everything, full stop. There were some bikes, as you would expect in Tenafly, were ridden once,
Right.
maybe half. They were brand new. And I remember I went to one house. I thought I'm very secure with my, strength and everything. Some older woman who is wonderful, she brought me into her house, into the basement of her house, and had me pick up this bicycle, Hercules. I needed your strength. This was like an all steel from like the 1700s. My back was up like literally 2 flights of stairs, and it was unusable, but I couldn't say no thank you. So a mix of bikes, but yeah, we collected over 100 bicycles, worked in partnership with our amazing police department. The chief was awesome. And literally one night gave out over 100 bicycles to kids in town.
Wow.
One more example of, let's not talk about theory. Let's not talk about the next 6 years of something. Literally, we spent like 2 months collecting bikes. My wife, don't ask my wife, literally, we used up an entire spot in our garage. We left our cars outside,
Mhm.
had 100 bicycles in my garage, and brought them all down to the police station and gave them all out. And that's why I do it. I will tell you, and my fellow council people know, I am not the most loving of council meetings and sitting on that dais and talking and talking and talking some more. There's always the good parts of the job and the parts that are less than awesome. And I'm a pretty awesome guy. I like to be upbeat. That's not where I get my energy. I get my energy from giving out 100 bicycles or giving out literally 8,000 meals or building ice rinks. Those are the things that, those are the reasons why I do what I do.
And you do what you do so well. And part of the reason for this particular show or this particular journey on video and audio is that a lot of people who don't check the borough website or don't know the people that are serving the town in various capacities feel that local government doesn't care and that it's unresponsive. And that's not true. All you need to do is sit in on a mayor and council meeting or attend, any one of a number of different meetings to see that the people are there and they really care about what they're doing, regardless of what they think about a lot of different issues, or whether they agree or disagree on a lot of issues. Everyone sincerely cares about Tenafly. and is doing their absolute best alone and in partnership with other people to make life in our borough better. And that's something that I feel needs to be seen, especially as the climate in our larger culture has become like very cynical and polarized. That basically we're a wonderful and unique community, but like all communities, we have challenges, and why not tackle those challenges together to create
Yeah.
a better world for all of us? And you embody that through what you've been doing on the council.
No, I appreciate it, and I try. And my wife will tell you I am not perfect by any stretch of the imagination. I have a lot of development opportunities. I truly believe everybody has Tenafly's best interests in mind. I certainly empathize and understand exactly what residents that sometimes get frustrated by the speed of government. To me, it's not acceptable, full stop. And I'm never going to justify, the speed sometimes of some of the things that happen in government. I think that you have to find a way to make it go a little faster. And it's not going to be, I get frustrated by it all the time. I promise you, whoever's frustrated, I promise you I am as, if not more frustrated. And unfortunately, I'm not always at my best. And I'm sure, Hercules, you could remember a time or two or three when I get frustrated on the dais, because I do want to get stuff done. And I'm not there just to, I don't know, just to hang out. I want to be with my boys more. I want to be with my wife more. I want to
Yeah, of course.
have a day job. But when going back to those things of getting some of the downtown things done and getting the benches there and fixing the lights and getting the outdoor dining, and it makes it worthwhile. You don't get the good without the, some of the less than good. We have to just challenge ourselves to try to think differently. And again, if one time out of 10 you're able to go a little bit faster, then take the win, and then you go for 2 times out of 10 and 3 times out of 10. What I am getting most frustrated by is something that happens in my day job too. My teams in my day job know this very well. The absolute worst thing you could ever say to me, worst, is, oh, because that's how we've always done it. My team
Mhm.
knows that is an absolute, you want to get fired, the best way to do that is to come up to me and say, oh, I did it this way just because that's the way we always do it. That's what I want to make sure. Let's continuously challenge. And I think we have some great members of administration that wants to be entrepreneurial and creative that way as well. And that's wonderful. But I think it's, like you said, it's the balancing act of, I'm sure there's a better quote than I'm going to butcher right now, but it's, change the things that you could change, and
Right, right, right.
and try. But I truly believe everyone has the best intentions, without a doubt.
And some things take a while. Like that's one of the things that impresses me about Tenafly. When I first moved back here in 2014, I was fairly active. Then I went through a period of inactivity. Then I went through a period of action, and now I'm like kind of like in a minimal activity but very busy type of stage. And some things have been coming up for a very long time, and it takes a while for them to happen. Like, for instance, the community garden near Borough Hall, the dog park, the Northern Valley project, dredging the water at the nature center. And what impresses me is that even though the people on the council change and the focus of the day is very different, these projects are not let go of. They continue to be discussed. Steps are taken forward, and sometimes steps need to be taken back. And sometimes something like the pandemic comes and puts a
Yeah.
focus on everything. And then, the tenacity of the mayor and the council over time is something that impresses me a great deal too. That even if an issue can't be dealt with immediately, like some roads being repaired, they eventually do get addressed. So these things don't disappear from election to election. They stay and remain because they're the priorities of the town, and the people that are elected continue to focus on the needs of the town as we move forward in time.
Yeah, I think it's that balancing, right? Everything's a balancing act of, it is pretty impressive, right? That I don't know if I'm using the right word, but sort of the continuity of government from election cycle to election cycle. So what's great is, we don't vote out or vote in 6 members all at the same time, right? There's 2 council members every year that get elected or reelected or the like. That's a good thing, right? Because you have some level of continuity. It's great that you have an administration, right? We have about 160 employees that it's not like I don't know if they're not we talk about politics and we say this all the time. I personally believe, and I say this to my wife and to all my friends, we're a town. Like, is a pothole Republican or Democratic? Like, we're not making those big Roe versus Wade type decisions here. I don't think our administration is partisan by any stretch of the
No.
imagination. And I don't think we are. Like, here I'll, I'll let you and your listeners decide. We have some pretty heated debates on the council, and I'm being generous. I think we're
Mhm.
all the same party. It can't get worse. Like, it can't get crazier, right? We have some pretty healthy debate. So, I don't think that I think, going back to your question, the fact that we have this continuity government, that not all the elected people get kicked off all at once, and then equally administration doesn't all leave when there's a new administration coming in or the like. So it's great that you actually have the history of, I could come up with something, and it's wonderful because our CFO or our legal counsel says, Adam, we looked at that. I'm not saying no, I'm just saying, here's the document from it. So now we don't have to do all the research all over again, because 4 years ago that was discussed as well. That adds a lot of value and drives a lot of efficiency in the process.
Yes, it does. And Tenafly is a town that has striven to basically recognize that we're different and to celebrate our differences. I'm
Oh
involved
yeah,
in the parade every year, the holiday parade.
love it.
And at the end of that, people from different denominations who want to share what their celebration is all about at that time of year are invited to speak and to demonstrate. And I even close the ceremony with an Olympian blessing on the whole town.
That's awesome. Yes.
It's everybody sharing their particular way of viewing the world and doing things and their particular beliefs without begrudging anybody else from doing the
Yep.
same. It's a wonderful thing. And Christine Evron quoted, she said something, and I've used it as quote ever since. In Tenafly, we celebrate our differences together.
Yeah.
And Tenafly is very non-partisan. Despite the makeup of the current council, as you said, but it's a very what's good for the whole town. And everybody is a resident of the town that is a resident of the town. And the council is very much for everybody in the town.
Very much so. Yes, absolutely.
Now, what do you see as Tenafly's greatest challenges?
I don't think that Tenafly is really any different than so many towns, that we have to evolve. We have to evolve you mentioned some of the demographic makeup changes. I would argue that's a good thing. We just spoke about diversity of thought and everyone's point of view. I think that's great. That changes, right? You've gone from more homogenous to more diverse. That's one. I think the second one is, my personal passion is around, our downtown revitalization. I think that's another thing that has changed, right? It was great, when we had the bookstores and this guy Jeff Bezos wasn't everywhere and things like that. I think we have to evolve there. I think we have to evolve how we walk around and how we interact. Again, when I was a kid, there was no internet, there was no nothing. Now it's sort of commonplace, and maybe all of our parks should be Wi-Fi enabled, or maybe we should have more people just don't read the physical. I personally, I take pride in my black fingers by the end of the weekend with all my newspapers that I like to read physically. But that's not how people get their news as much anymore. So maybe we have to be more digital. I think a big one. I'll be very provocative now coming into budget time, and another passion of mine is fiscal responsibility. The old cliche of like, maybe we just don't need buggy whips anymore. Every year we always have in the budget for buggy whips. Well, there's no horses anymore, so maybe we don't need buggy whips. In this generation, I remember we still have line items for like photocopying. I don't photocopy anymore. I don't even print anymore. Everything's digital. So I think we have to evolve. I think what we have to do is what I talk about a lot is cherishing our heritage. We have such an amazing heritage in Tenafly with such amazing stories and history, rich with history. Historic preservation is awesome. We need to balance that, or merge that with moving ahead and doing what we need to. You could always, one of the things that we're doing with the downtown committee is coming out of the work from downtown revitalization. We have some money to think about branding. How do we, signage, consistent signage in town? I would hope you agree that you go down the streets and there's 5 different colors to a welcome to Tenafly sign. We should probably have some consistency there. What is our sort of tagline, or what are we about? Because I would love to use that to how do we get new businesses into town, right? And try new things. So it's all about selling. Life is about selling, but it's around, we have to figure out what the right sort of tagline is, but it's, protecting our past while embracing our future, or something like
That
that.
sounds great.
I don't know. I just made that up, but I'm sure someone smarter than me will come up with something better. But that is, I think I'll be provocative for you. I would tell you the single biggest challenge we have in Tenafly, I think, is that how do you respect the past? How do you, those that enjoy, we all enjoy the past. We had a great, I've been doing a lot of work on nostalgia recently. In my old job, I used to run all of our consumer insights and analytics in North America for my company. So my job was literally just to be the megaphone for the 330 million friends I have in the United States. And one of the big things about Americans, and obviously it could be the world, I was responsible for America, is the desire for nostalgia. And actually COVID accelerated that. The world's coming to an end. I just want to remember when, my grandmother made me, my meatballs in a cup. Right? Or I remember the taste of a Milky Way bar or something when my grandfather gave it to me on our walks home from the park or something. So there's that nostalgia element to it. So everyone always, they love to have that feeling of nostalgia. It's a balance of that with the world is changing, and the Model T is not around anymore, or we should have Wi-Fi, or I'm sure I'll lose a lot of votes. So you got the mayor's the magazine you got, I'm sure, in the mail last week,
Yes.
right? Ready? You want to see how I get myself into trouble right now? How much do we pay for that? And what's great, and we're seeing because of COVID, I forgot not the red alerts. What are they called?
I know what you mean. The calls.
Yes, Code Red, they're called. I knew I was close. The Code Red is awesome because now the mayor gets to reach out to, we have literally the number quintupled or some silly number. We really have tons and tons of people on it now. We have all this great information. How do we get it to people in other ways, right? We have to send out postage. We have to send out the paper. Sustainability is another issue. Like online would probably be better than, killing some more trees, So I think it's the balancing act of embracing and respecting and honoring and beloving, that's not a word, our past with things do change. And as much as we like it, our kids, will never be like us. And we were never like my grandfather, walked up school uphill both ways in snow, even though, wherever, it's always different. So I think that's probably the biggest thing that we all have to deal with.
I see your point. I'm in my 60s now, so I'm an old timer, and I know that even though things are electronic and I'm more or less on the digital
Dude,
world.
you know more about digital than I do.
I don't think so. I know enough to do what I need to do, maybe a little bit more. But the physical hard copies of like the magazine, and they started delivering the local papers again. We used to have two coming every week.
Yeah,
One started. I don't get to read things right away. And what happens is my email, so many hundreds, if not thousands of things pour into it every day that I can't always have time to look to see what's there. So I know when the newspaper stopped delivering because of COVID, I missed out on a lot of local information only because
yeah.
I didn't know what to put my attention on in my inbox. So a lot of times it just kind of went. So I guess for my generation and older, some of them, because some of them are very much into the digital world totally, having something to refer to that's physical is still something that's desirable. And also I remember my son had given me a Kindle. And I have a
Yeah.
vast library of books. I used to read a book a day for years. Not
Seriously? That's
my eyes,
crazy.
yeah, my eyes don't hold out anymore, but I
That's
used to.
impressive.
So I've collected a wide variety of books. When my son first got me the Kindle, I would get rid of the books that I had on my Kindle because if I can carry thousands of books in the palm of my hand,
Right,
why should I have them sitting around cluttering the house? And
right.
then something happened to my Kindle, and
Oh.
then I couldn't access any of these books. So I repented getting rid of all those books.
No,
So
no, I totally hear you. I totally, you know, I totally get it. So I don't read as much as you. A book a day is really impressive. I'm impressed with myself. I set a New Year's resolution I've been doing for the past couple of years, every 2 books a month, and I think that's a lot.
that is
But uh, but I do like. So I read a lot of travel logs. I read nonfiction. I love Everest and I love underwater. Now I'm reading something about this female free diver, so cave diver. Um, I keep all the books, and it's a sense of accomplishment. I think that's also why I read the physical paper on the weekends. Because I feel like, first of all, I like cutting out articles, another
me too.
weird thing of mine. And I feel like a sense of accomplishment. But again, then I throw it all in the garbage, and I'm sure, I'm taking up space in the trash.
Talking about deep sea diving, there are a lot of remarkable people in Tenafly or who interact with folks in Tenafly. And I had on an earlier version of the show, Hillary Vitters. Everyone knows her as a reporter, but she actually is someone very prominent in the deep sea diving community. And she's done
She lives in Tenafly?
I don't know if she still lives in Tenafly,
Okay,
but she's a reporter. And I know she's covered several events that I was a part of, and that's how I got to meet her.
that's cool.
But I had her on the show, and I was going to interview her about being a reporter. But then it came out that she was into all this deep sea diving. So we wound up talking about deep sea diving
It's pretty
for the
cool.
whole hour.
Do you scuba dive? I'm a big
I
scuba
haven't
diver.
I haven't done any diving since maybe the 1970s or maybe the early 1980s.
Jacques Cousteau. Uh, yeah, it's cool. It's very cool.
Back then we had the snorkel, we had the mask and
Oh yeah.
and that was the extent. I got to do it in Europe though, which was cool. In Greece, anywhere you go in Greece, you'll encounter ruins. If you
Right.
swim and dive, there's ruins and old clay pots and all sorts of things. So you get that type of experience with it.
That's great.
And what's your vision? Because you're a very positive person, you're a very let's make it happen person. What's your vision from Tenafly? Once we figure out how we want to identify ourselves in terms of the memories we wish to preserve and the future we wish to embrace, what do you see for Tenafly?
Look, so for me, one of the things when I first got into, when I was running 3 years ago, I did hear a very consistent message of, we live in and I'll use the wrong words, but sort of, we live in a platinum town. We sort of want platinum services is pretty much the way I heard it. No one told me they want lower taxes. I'd like lower taxes. Believe me, I'm a resident just like you, I promise.
I'd like lower
And
taxes too.
I would love lower taxes. equally understand the economics of, we have these services, and I would argue more often than not, people are saying they want more services, right? Why don't we have, it's amazing, and Jamie from the rec department came to our last council meeting. We're at an all-time high on participation in sports, and community night was amazing, and all these different events. I think that we have to be efficient with the resources that we have. But I think we want to be a service-oriented town, meaning we do want nice stuff for our businesses. I want more businesses downtown, and more services for our existing 15,500 residents. Personally, yeah, I want more things for the people that are here now. I do love when more people come in. That's a good thing. It's actually a good sign that we're doing the right things as a town. But we should be doing more. I want more activities. I want more restaurants. I want, we already have, good schools. Like I mentioned, both my boys go to the high school and to the middle school right now. I think that we need to find a way to use our tax dollars wisely,
Mhm.
and use them to improve the everyday lives of our residents.
That is an awesome dream, and if anyone can start making that happen, whether it's a single or whether it's a home run, I'm glad you're in the town to start actualizing that.
No, I appreciate it, and again, it's a team effort. We all do it. I do like, and thank you for the singles and home runs. It is true. I don't want it to be a dream. I don't want it. I want it to be a plan to achieve our vision. So, one thing that I would like, and maybe again I'll be made fun of or get in trouble for this, but all day long I'm spoken about on why government is different and why it's not like a business, and good or bad, left and right, that's fine. But why can't we hold ourselves accountable for things?
Mhm.
I think the more we talk about this being a dream, or the more we talk about this as being, oh, it's just, Adam, this is government. Stop trying to mess things up, right? Like, this is government. It's okay. That's not okay with me. I don't know why we don't have to. So let us, obviously, all within, we follow the rules, of course, but let's just not accept it as just because this is the way it's always been, but rather let's get those singles, let's get those doubles, and let's put a plan and hold ourselves accountable every week and every month and every year, every quarter and every year, to make sure we're hitting the singles, that we're making progress on our doubles and triples, and we're staying towards the home runs. And let's get alignment on what are the priorities for the town, and go towards those priorities. And if the priorities are painting the town purple, well, just the streets, great. If that's what the answer is, then let's work to do that. Let's just decide as a team what those priorities are, build the plan, and work the plan, right?
Sounds like a great idea. How can folks who want to get involved if they don't know how? Like, what would they do to start um, like finding out who's doing something about something that concerns them or that they care deeply about, and how can they get involved in being part of the solution?
So it's great. I've never in my years in planning board and this and all my other program boards, I've never once heard anyone say I want to help and anyone in government say no thank you. So anybody that you are closest to, whether you want to walk into Borough Hall today and ask the borough administrator, hey, can you take my name down? I'd like to get involved. You could call me anytime you want. I'm pretty easy to get a hold of. You could speak to any one of my fellow council people or the mayor. There's always times, 100%, 100%. That's a relatively high number of our boards are all sort of appointed boards, right? So, I help lead the downtown committee. Call me up. you're passionate about the downtown, you're passionate about businesses, the parks, whatever, call me up. We have a team of about a dozen people, and they're all helping every day. That's one. You want to, I sit on the rec board. You want to help? Reach out to Jamie. We'll get you on the rec board. You want to help with participation and programming, talking about our fields. I'm very passionate about getting us more fields because we need more space. Whatever you want to do. You want to get on the planning board, the zoning board. You want to get on the senior center. I love Michelle. Actually, I'll tell you a little secret if you promise not to tell anybody else in the entire world.
Given our forum, yes,
The senior, I am in love. I'm so lucky. I go to all the senior events. I love like men's night. We had darts the other a couple months ago. There's always all these incredible events. They have an incredible bake sale. Shh, but you promised not to tell anybody.
they're awesome people there. I've interacted with them on several occasions.
It's
They're
incredible.
awesome.
You want to help there. There are tons of places, nature center stuff. Deborah, everybody is looking for help. So you want to help. And the beauty is, just tell me what your passion is. I promise you, I will find you a committee that harnesses that passion of yours.
And where can people go to learn more about you and what you're, the things that you're doing?
I mean, you can go to tenafly.org. Sorry, tenafly.net is our website. tenaflynewjersey.net, I believe. Hopefully. Tenafly, New Jersey, tenaflynj.org is our the homepage. From there, you could reach out to, you have all of our contact information. Again, I'm happy to connect with folks. I'm a big fan of coffees down at Angelique or actually, have you tried out Cafe Trois, the new restaurant?
Not yet. No, it's on my list.
Hercules, man.
That's what I heard. People have
Okay.
said great things about it.
My treat. You tell me when you're ready. I would love to go with you. It is really good pastries and coffee. So it's a great way for me to meet with residents. I'm often meeting with residents. I love it. Coffee's on me. Well, coffee's probably more on my wife since I've used up the millions of dollars I get in salary from the borough. But yeah, it's just a great way to meet and again engage. And how we started this conversation, it's for us, right? This is our town. I'll get myself in trouble. We've my wife and I, we've spent a lot of time we've given to Parkinson's research is an important one for our family. There are great things out there, but they're sort of not within reach. American Cancer Society, all these big things. It's hard to touch.
Mm-hmm.
You get back 1 hour to town, right? I'll tell you another one gets me in trouble, I'm sure. But if you remember when we did the outdoor dining, if you remember downtown, you saw, I actually got all the kids to paint the barriers. Remember that?
Yeah, I remember that.
Lots of people didn't like the barriers at all. The whole idea, people didn't like the barriers. They said it was ugly. So be it. How cool is it that the entire community, and I remember I had a couple parents came up to me and said, my kid doesn't stop talking about it. Every time we pass downtown, Daddy, look, I made that black stripe on the thing. It's cool. It's about us getting together. That's what I love about this town. It's just wonderful. It really is. It is such an incredible gift. I'm so fortunate to be able to serve and participate and be part of this family. It's awesome.
And I just want to let people know you're kidding about the mega bucks that you're getting from the these positions do not pay very much at all.
No.
Your motivation has to be love because
I guarantee you it is a net negative. I lose money on the job. I guarantee it, but it's okay.
We only have a couple of minutes left, and I thank you for being on. I know you're a very busy person. What last thoughts would you like to leave with people?
No, first of all, Hercules, thank you so much for making the time. I really, I hope you feel just a piece of the true, legitimate passion that I feel about this town, moving us forward, getting us to try new things and to do better and better and better. I'm just so lucky that I get to participate. I get to work with so many amazing residents that are on the downtown committees, on these different committees in the borough that help out so much. And yeah, I hope that my passion comes through a little bit. and hope that we could continue to do more and more. I would love people, if you could share, if there's a way for you to share my contact information with the residents. I speak about just about anything, and hopefully I could help in any way I can. And hopefully whoever reaches out, I could partner with them to do stuff as well. I think there's lots of opportunities to help the town.
I will take you up on that one personally. I have some ideas percolating in my head.
I love it.
We'll have that coffee.
Deal.
Thank you, Adam Michaels. You're awesome. And I'm very grateful that you are in the service of Tenafly, a community we love and that all the residents I've spoken to love. I wish you the best of success in all your endeavors and look forward to our next conversation.
Thank you so much, Hercules. I really appreciate it. Have a great day.
You too, and thanks to everybody who tuned in on YouTube, because that's where this will be in a few hours. Until next time, this is us wishing you joyous journeys and amazing adventures. Good night, everybody.